Welcome to the National Historic Cheesemaking Center located in Monroe, Wisconsin. Today is Monday, June 9th already, 2014. I'm Virgil Leopold. Behind the camera is Don Soren. We happen to be in Little Wyoda, Wisconsin, right? Just outside, north of South Wayne, yep. With Brian Zimmerman of Zimmerman Cheese. Brian, the Zimmerman name goes back a long time with the making of cheese and the factory. Can you tell us just a little bit of history of the factory here and the Zimmerman involvement in cheese making?
Well, I bought this plant in January 1st, 1979. Okay. And it was a co-op at that time. It was struggling a little bit, so we took it over. The cheesemaker was ready to retire, and a lot of the equipment was kind of over the hill, defunct, and we've started with 4 farms. So pretty humble beginnings.
Right.
And we made cheese every 3rd day. We made 1 vat. The history of Wyoda, there's been like 3 or 4 other cheesemakers here before we bought this plant. And we've done nothing but grow and expand since we bought it. And a little bit of our family history. My grandpa immigrated from Switzerland at the age of 13 and started making cheese in Eau Claire, working for a guy, and loved the business, and came to South Wayne, and at the, I just had a mill blank. Wood Andrews, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, he made cheese at the Wood Andrews right on the state line, small factory where they made Swiss cheese. Then him and my dad went to Monroe in 1960. I was 2 years old at that time, and they started at the Greene County Co-op. And Dad made cheese. Where was that located? Right next to the brewery.
Right next to the brewery in Monroe was a factory at one time. No kidding, really? I did not know that. Okay.
And so Dad made cheese there for quite a while, and so I've grown up in a kettle my whole life. I mean, so ever since I've been a little kid, I've been around the business. I always loved it. Graduated from high school in 1975, and at that time I was working for Albert Doepler. Because
boy, is that a name that comes up a lot of our interviews, Brian. The name Albert Doepler and how he's worked with people or trained people and helped people out. And
I have nothing but respect for Albert and what he did.
Yes.
He took me under his wing after my dad sold the plant back in 1971. My dad wanted to do some improvements in the co-op, but the farmers didn't want to, so Dad said, I'm done.
Okay.
So he traveled on the road then, selling cultures and enzymes to cheese factories, got to know basically the entire industry. So we had a lot of connections at that point, and I always told Dad that, you know, someday I'd like to make cheese. And he said, well, you just let me know when you want to. So I attended the University of Wisconsin, La Crosse, and when I come home in the summers or in breaks, I was always working out at Doepler's.
Okay.
And that time, Albert kind of asked me if I would be interested in taking the 2-week cheesemaker short course at Madison. And now there's a lot of other people that worked for Albert that had seniority over me, so I was rather kind of flabbergasted that he asked me to do that. So I got my cheesemaker's license, you know, before I graduated from high school. I think I was 17 at the time, and always worked for Albert and always really enjoyed it. I just had more exposure to the business. But Albert was a great mentor. He was very fair. He expected you to work hard.
Yes, he did.
But he would.
But he worked hard himself.
He did. He worked right next to you.
Yeah, that's right.
And the one time I came in hungover, Albert knew it, and he just calmly said, "Brian, you'll be working with me today." And Albert tried to kill me. But I
learned your lesson, didn't you, Brian?
And the last thing he said to me that day before I left, he says, where are you going tonight? I said, nowhere. I think I'm going home. He said, good choice. And that was Albert. He was a man of few words.
Yes, right.
But yeah, I had great experiences. And like I said, we started here in '79. My dad had a lot of contacts, so it took a lot of years to establish the customers that we have now, but we have great customer bases. And we make a quality product. It's like anything else. If you work hard at it and you make a quality product, you can make it in this world. But you're going to make some sacrifices.
Right.
But yeah, it's been great. And now I'm kind of getting on the other end of it. And I've got 2 nephews working into the business now.
That's wonderful. So the family tradition is going to continue
Yes.
here, which is great.
Yep.
You mentioned something that I think people would like to know here on the video, and you mentioned the term cultures and enzymes. What are cultures and enzymes? What are they used for? So what was it?
Well, the cultures are basically the bugs that we inoculate the vats with. After pasteurization, you're basically starting with a neutral product.
Okay.
So we've killed off any bad bugs, and what we need to do is introduce the bugs that we want to produce acid. So we introduce that into the vat, and we ripen for a certain amount of time. And ripening is just the amount of time that we're leaving the bugs in the vat, because you can increase or decrease the pH activity by how much or the length of time that you ripen. That's called ripening. And then we use the enzymes, which would be the renin, and that's what sets up our vat to coagulate before we cut and start separating the curds and whey. And
is it different cultures and enzymes for the different kinds of cheese that you make?
Yes.
So every different kind of brand, it's not the same cultures go in and by magic it turns out to be a different kind of cheese.
They're very similar at times, but there are different activity levels. If you get into like Italian cheeses or something like that, you do use different or stronger strains depending on what you make. But the Munster and Brick we make here, those are very the same cultures.
And how many different brands do you make? How many different kinds of cheese do you make?
Well, we make Brick, Munster, Baby Swiss, and Farmer's cheese. That's really all I make here.
And so you've grown, you just took a tour with Don and I before we started this interview here. We're going to go back down into the factory now and see those areas.
Yes.
How many pounds of milk do you bring in a given day?
We bring in right around 300. We make cheese 5 days a week.
When you say 300, it's 300,000. So you're talking somewhere around 30,000 pounds of cheese a day.
But depending on our orders, we will buy milk on the outside.
Okay.
So we can adjust our flow that way
also. So you can go higher. So
we've been running almost 400 a day the last few weeks.
Is that right? So again, for people hearing that, it's almost at that 10-to-1 ratio, pretty close.
Very close.
Depends upon the kind of cheese that's made, but that makes about 40,000 pounds of cheese a day. People don't understand. That's a lot of cheese. Okay, so you really expanded here in terms of your poundage and the workers that you've got here in the factory, and you made some new additions just recently.
Yes.
So can we go down now into the factory, Brian, and take a look at those areas? We'll go to 4, 5, 6 different areas, and we'll video this and show that. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Great. Don, let's break here, and we'll go down and do that. Well, as you can tell, we're down inside the plant right now, Brian. So what's going on behind us right here? Can you explain this?
Right here is our brine, and you can see that we've got stackable shelves down there. So what we do is we float everything. We used to do everything the hard way with our arms. I always call it the Armstrong Method. So what we've done to simplify things, there's flumes that run underneath all the tables. You can see the tables on the far side.
Way over there.
Way down there. And so what we do is when it's time to brine, when we reach the right pH, we just carry the cheese into the brine, put it in the flume carries it along the back side, and then this brine is around 88% salinity.
Okay.
It's really, there's a lot of salt in there. Okay. So it's probably around 12 feet deep. So then we load the racks up and down it goes.
Really? That's 12 feet down?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah. So then in the morning, after the cheese has been in a certain amount of time, depending on the size of the cheese, that's how we determine how long we brine it.
All right.
So then we open the gates, they float out, they come out, they go up on the conveyors and to the packing machines.
To the packaging machine, okay.
Yep.
Back over there. And what's back over there, Brian?
That's all the multi-vacs.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything in the color machine, everything gets packed and put away.
Okay. So how many pounds of cheese can you literally have in here, Brian?
Around 45,000.
45,000 pounds, okay. So then, when you say it's a lot of salt in there, you could float in that, couldn't you?
You would float, absolutely.
Okay. So where should we head now?
Let's go down to the tables. They'll be dipping shortly.
Okay.
We're pre-drying a vat right now. So as soon as we start dipping, we'll have a good look, and you guys can see how we dip Munster.
Sounds great, John. Let's go down there.
So right now we're pulling out of these valves.
Right. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, where are we at right now, Brian?
Right now, this is the manhole of a vat. There's 34,000 pounds of milk in here.
In this one vat?
In one vat.
Okay.
And we're just getting done pre-drying, which means the curd has already been cooked. So before long, we'll be down on the floor and we'll start dipping that. But in the pre-draw, what we do is we shut the agitators off and let the curd settle.
Okay.
And then we take the whey off the top. That way it's more manageable once we get the whey down, so we dip it on the tables.
Okay. So like we're going to have a demonstration at the center on Saturday where they talk about the curd dropping down. In that little vat, you're doing this in one with 30-some thousand pounds of milk, doing that same thing, basically.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, great.
See what he's doing right now is checking it. Remember I told you
he's checking over there.
Yeah,
okay, well what's Don got a picture of right there, Brian?
Well, right now we're getting ready to cut.
Okay.
So this one's got the rennet in it, so he's checking it to see if it's ready to
Okay,
ready
Don,
to go.
you want to take a picture of that? He's reaching into there. What is he doing?
He's going to do a split.
Okay, which is?
To see if it's, we have a feeling. And every cheesemaker does a little bit differently. But my guys know what I want, so what they're trying to do is determine if it's ready to cut. Depending on the milk, the solids, sometimes we have to hold a little longer, other times we have to cut a little sooner.
Okay.
But you don't know without checking it.
Okay, I've heard the term grip.
Yep.
That's the grip that...
No, grip is at the end.
Grip is at the end when you're done.
When you start dipping.
And this is called?
The split.
The split. So there's a split and there's a grip.
That's right.
Okay. And all these guys know how to do that. They know what they're looking for.
You bet.
Okay, Don. Now we're going to be watching this in a little while, but while we were up there, you were talking about those guys reaching in and doing that. How do you go ahead and train your people to be able to do that? Because you've got a lot of people working here. How many people do you have altogether?
We've got around 27 employees.
So you got 27 employees. They have to know what to do.
I've only got 4 licensed cheesemakers.
Okay.
Myself would make 5, but what we do is we train them, we work with them.
Okay.
When we're down here on the floor, we can tell just by the feel if they're on it or not.
Okay.
So Dennis and I were always relaying, because milk changes. It changes all the time. You have to remember it's a living thing. And depending on what the cows are eating, if they're on grass, if they're on silage, you can smell that stuff occasionally.
Okay.
So, but they, just through experience. You don't get it overnight. It takes years of practice.
So again, we go back, and I've talked to this because I do some of the tours at the center. It's that cheesemaking is a science, certainly,
it is.
But it's also an art.
Yes, very much.
So
and everybody does a little differently.
Okay.
So that's why some guys won't give away their secrets or tell you how they do it. I've learned more from my mistakes than I have my successes.
Okay.
I mean, my dad used to tell me when we used to make cheese 7 days a week, and when we went to 6 days a week, my dad had a fit. Then we went to 5 days a week.
Okay.
And honest to God, I thought I was going to give him a heart attack. But we sat him down and we showed him the heat, the electricity, everything that we do, the water, the chemicals, and the cleanup. Well, we had, at the time when we first started here, we didn't have refrigerated silos.
Okay.
Well, now everything's refrigerated. The quality of the milk has gotten so much better in the last 15 years.
Okay.
Well, we finally showed him, he finally accepted the fact that we were smarter to go 5 days a week than 7 days a week. But it was really hard for him to accept that, because that's all he ever knew.
Right. When you talk about the quality of milk, there was just this contest, the international contest up in Madison. And there was a comment in the paper where one of them said, Wisconsin's so lucky because we've got such quality of milk in Wisconsin.
Yes.
So you just said the same thing as that guy said in the paper.
I've been doing it for 35 years, and the improvement that I've seen in the 35 years is unbelievable.
Okay.
So we are really getting it.
Okay.
Our somatic cells are going down, the quality's there. Compared to what it was even 15 years ago is unbelievable.
We might turn the camera off right now, Don, because soon they're going to do what they call dipping. Is that
dipping and flipping and brining. We're going to be doing all of it here.
We're watching that happen right here today.
Yep.
Sounds good. So we'll stop for right now until that goes, Don. Okay, Brian, what are they doing right here?
Well, right now we're separating, it's called dipping.
Okay.
And we're separating the curds from the whey. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill these forms up a little over full. And fermentation's a great thing, because what happens as the whey dissipates, the bugs are going to continue to, you've got to believe in logarithms.
Okay.
They're going to exponentially keep growing. And as the acid goes down, this is going to shrink up. We're going to get a lot of the moisture out of it. And it's going to be here for about 2 hours, and we're going to brine it after it reaches the right pH.
So there's a tremendous amount. We just talked a little bit about that over there. Tremendous amount of science and actually math and everything else that's tied to this.
Yep.
Think of what they're doing. And there's brine right in here, right?
No, there's no brine there. That's just wake.
That's just the wake that's coming
just the
out
wake
of that
coming out,
now.
yep.
Okay. So how long will this take to get this done? That's coming out of that one vat.
It'll take us around
up there.
Yeah, about 20 minutes to dip.
For 20 minutes to dip.
Yep.
And what are those guys doing over there?
Well, now this one here, the pH is around 530. Okay. So they're getting their last turn. And you can see how much they've shrunk down, because when we started, that was just like this where they were full.
Oh, they were filled up to here.
Yes.
Now that's gone down.
Yeah. Now these are slabs, and those are called squares.
Okay.
So now the pH is right on that vat. So now we're going to start brining that one. And also this one here, the pH on this is about 6.
Okay.
And the pH on this right now is probably around 640. So we're at 640, 6, 530.
So everything is timed.
Yes.
But also, do you feel at that time to know when to flip, or that's pretty much a time thing?
That's the experience part.
That's the experience part to know how to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So there's nothing pressed on that at all.
No.
It's just a natural reaction that goes with
The bacteria pulls it down. The bacteria is driving out. There will be whey coming out of this cheese the entire time.
Okay. Great. Where should we head now, Brian?
Should we go down to the end and we'll watch them, Brian?
Okay, let's go down to the end, Don. Okay, Brian, we got Dennis Schlimm that's over there right now. He's looking at something. What is Dennis looking at?
Well, Dennis is running the pH on the square. So he just wrote down what the pH was, and he's at the final end of it. What was your pH, Dennis?
584.
Okay, that's the second turn. So that one is not ready to brine. That one's got about another hour yet.
Okay.
But you can see by our logs, we keep track of it all along the way. Everything's documented. We know right where everything's at. And they'll be turning these now as soon as we go back out.
You'll take that back in, and then they'll be turning those. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Brian, what's going on now?
Well, right now these cheeses have reached about a 530 pH.
Okay.
So now it's time to knock them out of the forms and put them in the brine. So what we're doing, he knocks out 4, hands them to the other guy, he puts them in the brine. And you can see, after he puts them in the brine, they head on around the flume, and they're going to go into the racks.
Well, we just saw when it first came in, that big rack, and then it's going to go down into there.
If you want, we can go over there, and you can see how they go in.
Okay. And they're still continuing to dip.
These are 3 different vats all in action.
Oh, my gosh. Everybody has to know exactly what their responsibilities are to make this work.
But we also work as a team, and everybody works together.
Okay. Great. Don, can we go over there and take a picture then of them going into the brine over there? Okay, so now, sorry, get up a little closer. What's happening is those are coming through the brine. Now they're going to go in those big containers, and they'll eventually all go down inside, right?
That is correct.
And how long will they be in there?
They'll be in there right around 14 to 16 hours, depending on the salts we want in the finished product. So now he's got 1 rack full. That's why you said something.
Okay.
And down she'll go.
All right. And Don's got a picture of that. As you said, it takes a lot of teamwork, doesn't it,
yes,
to make this whole thing work? Everybody has to know exactly their responsibility.
Yep. And we all keep an eye on each other, and we all work together. And then it goes smooth.
Great. Okay, Brian, where are we at? We got a gentleman standing on top of a truck, it looks like. What is he doing?
Well, this is our intake where our fresh milk comes in from the farms, our raw milk, I should say. And Russ is one of our drivers, and this is Russ Elzen from Darlington. And Russ will bring in about 3 loads here today, and he picks it right fresh off the farm. And what he's doing here, he's unloading his first load. He's already run antibiotics, that's cleared. So now he's just about at the end, so now he's closing up and go out to get another load.
Okay, now when we were in here earlier, Brian, there was a huge tanker that was over there. Now that kind of tanker doesn't go to the individual farms. He goes to the farms.
Right.
What about the tanker? He gets that from someplace else?
Some of those do go to farms.
Some of those tankers do go.
Farms are getting that big, they load them on tankers now.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's the other thing. Remember we were talking about our farms?
Yeah.
Our farms have gotten better, bigger.
At one time, we had almost, I'd say we had 90-some farms here.
Okay.
Now we've only got around 45, but the farms have all grown so much.
Those 45 are doing more
Yes.
milk than those 90 did at one
Yes.
point in time.
Correct.
How this has changed so dramatically. Now over here to the side, Don's got a picture of something that's a kind of a gauge on there. What is that for?
What we've got here is it's a CIP chart.
Okay.
So when we wash lines, trucks, everything is documented, everything is written down.
Okay.
So if we ever have the state or the USDA or FDA questioning anything, we can always go back in our logs and show that it was washed. Our trucks, when they get done here, they have to wash, and then they have to put wash tags on. Everything is sealed.
Okay.
So
Really controlled.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Sounds good, Don. Okay, Brian, looks like we got some panels here. What are these for?
Well, this runs our pasteurizer.
Okay.
These are our control panels where everything is locked down. Everything has their state tags on it.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're pasteurizing the milk, making sure we start with a clean product. Everything, it's one of the safest things we can do. We do not make anything raw milk here. Everything is pasteurized before we use it. So that's why we have recording charts that tells us where everything's at. That way, if we ever do have a question, an inspector can come in here and look at these charts and tell right where our milk is at, and it's pasteurized.
So do you pull these charts off each day?
Yes.
And then they're stored, and so anybody for
Every
inspector can
12
come in?
hours.
You mentioned back in there a little bit, technology has changed so much in the 35 years that you've been involved.
Yes.
And it's really made it much better.
All our
quality.
control, a lot better. We're able to control our temperatures versus running them by hand. When I first started here, you'd set it. Well, then you'd always have a variance where the steam was running back and forth.
Right.
Where now, with some of the controls we've got on our heat sets, it makes things a lot easier.
Wow.
So it's more consistent, and I think that's the one reason the farmers are seeing a lot of that also. It's helping us clean up better. Just a safer product for the consumer.
Okay, let's move to this other area that you
All right.
talked about with the whey, I think
Yep.
you talked about. Let's go there, Don. Okay, it's loud in here.
Yes, it is.
What's happening?
Well, we brought the whey over from the separator in the UF room, and now we're ROing it. These vessels take right down to the microns. We're right down to water molecules. So we're taking it right down to molecular level, and we're saving the water. And we'll use this, it's called cow water, and we will use the water when we wash up, and that is from the milk and whey process.
Okay.
That way we're not using well water. So we're utilizing all of our water, and we're also taking out the lactose. So we're selling the lactose, saving the water, very economical.
And where does that go then after here?
Meister cheese and muscadine.
In Muscadine.
They further process.
Into a product.
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks.
All right.
And what is this, Brian?
Well, this is just a control panel for the RO. It monitors all our pumps and all our infeeds, so we can look at any one of these little windows, and it tells us exactly what's going on at all times.
That's part of that technology.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, Brian, now you made me wear this hairnet. You took me in where it's warm, then you took me in where it's loud. Now I'm cold. What is this?
Well, this is our cooler. It's the final destination of our product. So after we get all done packaging, we get everything boxed up and weighed. This is the last spot where it ends up. And it's 38 degrees in here.
I feel every bit of it.
Yeah. So this is where it ends up on the day, and then tomorrow we'll have semis picking it up, and out the door it goes.
How long does it usually sit in here?
It's usually only in here a week.
A week, and it's gone.
Yep.
So, Brian, again, you got all this milk coming in, all right? How do you know how much to make of all the different kinds? Because you said you make multiple kinds here.
Well, Mark takes care of all the marketing. Mark and Paul.
Mark, okay.
So Mark sets up the make schedule every day.
and Mark keeps an eye on everything very, very closely, but everything runs over the scale.
Okay.
Everything is UPC labeled, so everything goes up to that computer, tells us where everything's at, every piece of cheese is accounted for, so really nothing gets too lost.
And then pretty much the milk that comes in today, you already know what that's going to be made into.
Yes.
Even probably the milk that's coming in on Friday, you know where that's going to be made.
We're very fortunate that we're as busy as we are.
Wonderful.
But we've worked hard to get to that point.
Oh, yes.
And when I first started here, we had a lot of cheese sitting around. We were trying to sell it. You'd get a customer, you'd lose a customer.
Okay.
Where I feel very fortunate now with the customers I've got that everything's pretty much standing. And I feel very good about what we're doing here.
You made a comment earlier when we were just visiting as we were going from place to place about the percent of Munster that's made in the United States. What percent do you think comes from the Greene County area?
Right.
Greene and Lafayette County area.
Well, I don't have exact numbers, but I'm just kind of guessing. We have got some great cheesemakers in this area.
Okay.
And I would say that probably when you see the contests that are run and you see, I mean, I'm talking a real genuine Munster.
Right.
There are some Munsters cut out of Monterey Jack that people sell as Munster, even though it's not a true Munster.
Okay.
But I would guess 70% of all the Munster in this country is made right here. I don't know the exact number, but I'm just guessing.
That's amazing. People don't understand that.
Right.
Don and I go to Alabama in the winter, January and February, and the big name down there is Boar's Head, you know?
Yeah.
And I know people think they buy that Boar's Head, it's made at a Boar's Head factory.
Right.
It's not.
No, we do all private label here.
Yep.
That's what we do.
And
We
go
sell
from there.
a lot to Sargento and Great Lakes and Lana Lakes.
Wow.
So those are three of the big companies that I work with that we've worked to establish our name with and our reputation.
So people
And-
watching this are saying, I just bought some Sargento. What a
Right.
great factory. Well, it might
Yeah.
have come from our Greene County factory.
That's right. Yep, you bet.
Greene County or Lafayette County. Got to put that in because you guys are. But I consider you so much of.
I am part of Greene County.
Because you've been so much involved with cheese days and those kinds of things. So
Right.
great. So okay, Don, we'll go out to the. I think we're going to go to the
We're going to the cheese sales room.
cheese set. Okay,
Yep.
great. Brian, this has been super, and we got to visit first upstairs, and we've gone to see different parts of the factory. That's wonderful for people to understand exactly what goes on in a factory. What's the picture behind us? What is
Well,
that?
my grandpa was always called Alphorn cheese when my grandpa made Swiss cheese down at the Wood Andrews.
Okay.
And that was his trademark.
Is that
So
right?
it stayed with us ever since.
And I see you have that on your
On our shirts.
on your shirt, and
Yep.
in your hand you've got a couple things.
Well, these were Dad's and Grandpa's from the Wisconsin State Fair. Back in those days, they actually gave away silver mugs. And so Dad and Grandpa both did very well at the Wisconsin State Fair, and we're continuing that tradition.
And you just found those and going to have them out here?
Yeah, he had
and
them buried away, and I found them. I said,
I think that's
I can't
wonderful.
part with them. I got to bring them up to work.
Well, Brian, we've got cheese days coming up, okay? And I know that you're involved with that.
Yes.
Do you take cheese to this tent as well, or
No, I
you
don't.
don't do that?
No,
but
I don't
that
do
tent
that.
is still pretty good
Oh,
size.
you bet.
Well, one of the things we're going to do this year, Brian, and we talked a little bit about, is really honor our cheesemakers. So we want you involved in that with our opening ceremony and our VIP royalty reception, so you'll be getting letters on that.
Okay.
But I really appreciate it. I've known the Zimmerman family for a long time. I've went with your mom down to Biloxi,
Yes.
Mississippi when we did some work for the church. So it's neat to come out here and to meet you and to have
Well,
you
as a
show us the kinds
cheesemaker,
of things. This
I
is
want to
great.
thank you guys for all the hard work you guys put into Cheese Days, because you guys volunteered for all this and make it all possible.
This will be my 42nd year involved with it, so I'm getting a little old too.
Well,
so
thank you very much for all
Brian,
your time.
for just doing this for us today. This has just been a super
Good.
interview.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Okay, Don, I think we're done here at Zimmerman Cheese.